On September the 14th, 2023, we may have a bit of a shocking new moon in the sign of Virgo that can unfold itself over the months that follow in unexpected events in the world, but in our own lives as well. Some of these unexpected events, though, for you individually may be very positive and can lead you to a new area of success in many parts of your life. We're going to talk about why. One of the things that really think that's important about this particular Virgo new moon at 21 degrees of Virgo is its sextile relationship to two interesting asteroids, Nemesis, the goddess of divine justice, balance, and order, and Apollo, the god of prophecy, and yes, unfortunately, culture, yes, and plagues. So there's a bit of that going on in the collective. Of course, this is more for the world as well. We have that trine to Uranus that this moon is in a tight relationship to. And in that sense, we do get those surprises. But because it's a trine, ultimately, especially individually, some of them may unfold in the month that follows this lunation and in the months that follow this lunation as a positive change or surprise or new direction in our lives. So let's get talking about how this might look for you individually based on your sun, moon, but most accurate rising sign. Don't know your rising sign? Check out how to calculate your natal sky and whole sign houses using the description box below. Then we're going to hear about what this might look like for the event to be unfolding because of this lunation. So first of all, if you're new to my channel, I am Lori Lothian. I am using the Western Tropical Zodiac. I use whole sign houses, as do all the astrologers here on YouTube. We're pretending that the whole world is construed by whole sign houses. That's how we delineate your sky. Second of all, if you're new to my channel, please like, subscribe, hit the bell, and check out my description box because I have everything down there. If you want to take Sky Reader with me, 4th time teaching starts the 3rd week of September. Get on that wait list for the early bird open shop cart, notice discounts and all of that. We'll be opening the cart sometime in the 1st week of September. And if you want to learn astrology in 6 weeks in order to time your best life and all of that, be your own astrologer, you might want to do this class with me, 4th time teaching live. And there's everything else you need to know about me in my description box. Big promotion for Patreon this month. You get $80 worth of free gifts by giving me a try at any tier level during the month of September. And you can jump in anytime after August the 20th for those gifts to you. All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit about the sky. Before we do, get a cup of coffee, get a tea, settle in. You know, this is going to be a while. I mean, the all signs you can jump ahead, but I maybe would think you might learn something if you listen to the beginning of the video. Let's make a few general comments about the beginning, about the moon, and give it some context. Okay, for every time we have a new moon, we have a new beginning. Sun and moon are conjunct. Conjunct at 21 degrees, this case, in 58 minutes, around 8:30 p.m. in Eastern Daily Time. Let me double check that. Around 6:30 p.m. in Pacific Time, 9:30 p.m. Time really doesn't matter that much in Eastern Daily Time. So there's this new moon, new beginning, 21 degrees and 58 minutes. If you add it 2, 1, 5, 8, you're going to end up with the number 16, right? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, yeah, 16. 16 is the Tower of the Tarot, shock and awe. The reason I bothered to add that up, because the numerological 16, sudden change, shock and awe, tarot card archetype from the major arcana, is also indicative of a moon that is trine to a 22-degree retrograde Uranus. And your retrograde Uranus going back from 23 to 19 degrees of the sign of Taurus, where Jupiter is sitting, is Uranus going back over old ground. Now, you know, Uranus back over this could be UFOs, UFO disclosures, aerial phenomena disclosures, celestial disclosures, but also back over old ground to do with markets, currencies, stocks, things to do with economies, going back over old ground with things to do with extreme weather. Those are Uranus retrograde things in Taurus. And now we have a lunation trining it. So reaching out to that Uranus and saying something significant is trying to happen here. This new moon is also in a relationship to two minor asteroids, Apollo at 22 degrees and Nemesis at 21 degrees of Cancer. Those two placements are actually in what we call a square to the nodes of fate. And it creates a T-square that looks like a triangle in the sky. That's very tense. That's that south node at 25 Libra, the north node at 25 degrees of Aries, and then squaring Nemesis, divine justice and retribution, also known by the Greeks as a goddess of jealousy, envy, and revenge, but by the Romans, she was kind of the divine putting alignment and divine justice back together for all the mortals, finding balance and fairness from a divine justice perspective. So that's Nemesis. And then we see that, but of course we all say he's my nemesis, she's my nemesis. They're the cause of my self-undoing or my things going wrong in my life. They're the thorn in my side. That's colloquial nemesis, right? And the other part of this story is that the asteroid Apollo at 22 degrees of the sign of Cancer at the bending of the nose. You know, people don't think about Apollo's a sun god, right? Brother of Diana, sure. But he was also the god of prophecy and also the god of plagues. So pandemics, plagues. And so we have that weird divine justice, nemesis, plagues, divine retribution, potential embedded in a new moon. Now, a new moon takes place, like it unfolds itself over 6 months. Sure, in the new moon to new moon window, the month after the new moon on September the 14th, there may be some of these themes emerging. But it is going to be February 24th of 2023 at the full moon that in our lives individually and collectively, we see the fruiting, the fullness, and the completion of what is beginning to happen now. I don't like the tone of that full moon because it's opposite Mercury in detriment. So the lunation is opposite its ruler in detriment in Pisces next February, conjunct the sun, right? So there's solar figures, maybe leaders involved, news and announcements and leaders. So that's intense energy in 2024. In fact, I wrote some notes down about that. Of course, I probably won't know where I put my paper. Yes, it is. Oh my goodness, I forgot. It's a triple conjunction. So it's Mercury, Sun, and Saturn are all combining forces in a triple conjunction opposite that full moon in Virgo on February 24th next year. So there's a lot of bureaucracy, systems, things to do with Saturn in Pisces, which can be water hardships or difficulties with water. So there's the weather story, solar figures, leaders, Mercury. Mercury isn't telling the truth very well in Pisces. He's just confused, or he could be manipulative. He's in his detriment. So, and this is a moon that has its lunation lord in cahoots with the sun and Saturn in a difficult placement, in a difficult sign. So I don't even think that it's just about now. I think this new moon is planting like the nascent little suggestion seeds or codes for what we will be feeling and seeing in like the winter or February of 2024. Now let's go back and I'm going to show you the sky so you can see what it looks like. Okay. But the other thing I want to say about this is the star, Denebola, Denebola, Denebola. Denebola is sitting on this lunation. And this lunation, by the way, is the Sabian symbol for a coat of arms. And one of the key words for a coat of arms is authority, because of course it's the lords and ladies and it's those in power. So tradition, sure. Authority, oh yeah. So consider that there's a new moon hatching something on the coat of arms, the royals, the people in charge energetically, tradition energetically. And the star Denebola is involved. Now, I don't pretend to be an expert on stars. I like to share what I know. And I know what I know because I read and learn. So I have 2 wonderful books on hand just to tell you a bit about this powerful, sometimes difficult star. The Living Stars is one of my resource books, okay? And I have another one here about to share with you. But I'll start with this particular classic. So Denebola is the tail of the lion, but it's also known as the lion's bowels, and it's also known as the changer. Depends on the culture, Arabic, Persian, Greek, whatever, Roman. They all had different names for this star that comes at the tail end of Leo. I know, I hear you. What do you mean, Leo? We're in Virgo, right? We're 21 Virgo. Yes. But the precession of the equinoxes means that every 70 years, a star will appear to move 1 degree from the place it was, like when I was born, Regulus was around 29 degrees of the sign of brain come back on Leo, and now it's sitting at 0 Virgo. So because the stars aren't moving, obviously, right? They're not like moving through the sky. Our perception from Earth as the Earth's wobble creates this kind of way we see the sky differently, which is called the precession of the equinoxes, mean the stars appear to go through a cycle of movement from our perspective on Earth. Got that down. So in sidereal or Indian astrology, they talk about the stars with where they really are relative to the current constellations, whereas tropical Western is a symbolic sky pinned to the 0 degrees spring equinox, as if 0 Aries is exactly what happens. Okay, enough astronomy for you guys. The gist of it is this. Denebola is the tail of the lion in what we normally call the Leo constellation, although it exists in the tropical zodiac right now around 21 Virgo. So we have this energy of Denebola, and I'm going to not try to fake it till I make it. I'm going to read it to you, okay? Basically, some of the thoughts that are in this book, okay? The lion's bowels, the changer, yeah. So the changer was, an Arab named it the changer because this star was connected to weather changes when the weather turned from cold to warm. Okay, that star was rising when the star rose. Okay, when the weather turned cold when the star was visible, and the weather turned warm when it was invisible. So the changer in terms of the weather is one name for this particular star. It's also connected with being future-oriented thinking. It was also called the burning one. It's a blue star, and maybe because blue stars are considered very hot. Now, this particular author, Dr. Eric Morse, does write this. The lion's tail has a quality of being farthest from the end, and one should not approach it without being careful. One should not approach that star of the lion's tail unwarily. And so it has a Venusian quality of peace and safety about it, but we should still not be tempted into pulling the lion's tail, as vernacular saying has wisely warned. Therein lies the Saturn quality. So Saturn and Venus are two planets that have been associated with the nature of the star. We like Venus. She's a benefic. Saturn can be a bit malefic and difficult. Already. Okay, so that's that. And then I'm going to tell you what the other little book I have three, but these are ones I have handy. The Little Book of Fixed Stars, already by Elizabeth Hazel. And she's quite lovely in the way she writes about these stars. Her short code for Denebola, her little one is from la, 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 la. She says, aid from superiors, but prone to losses and misfortunes. Alrighty, aid, but prone to losses and misfortunes, quarrelsome and litigious. Litigious. Okay, let's keep litigious in mind. Legal lawsuits. With difficult planets can be out of step with society, impulsive, unpredictable. Well, this is with Mercury, but Mercury's at home with this particular new moon, and we'll talk about that, but he's also retrograde. So he's close to Earth, but he's going back like a slingshot, pulling back an arrow for something he's going to push forward later. And that will be around September 29th, October 1st, between those zones when we're going to have a big splashing news story. Probably wondering why. Go back to August the 23rd or so. And Mercury was trying to form a trine to the planet Uranus, but could not quite complete it. He refrained. It's called a refrainment. He couldn't get all the way to the degree where Uranus was, and he turned around and went retrograde August 23rd, or I think it was around 21 degrees of Virgo, if I remember correctly. And now he's going to go back forward. And by the end of September, like around the 29th, 30th into early October, he finishes the trine to Uranus. What does Mercury trine Uranus mean? Shocking news. But it could be positive, but it can be shocking, or it could be constructive, but still shocking. And it's as if Mercury wanted to say something at the end of August, third week of August, couldn't say it, had to go back and do some business backwards, retrograding, over old ground. And then it's going to spring forward. And at the end of September, speak. Right? Tell the truth, say the thing, disclose the news. And this new moon will be a part of that. It has to be a part of that because it's a new moon in Mercury's sign. Mercury's in domicile. He's lording over the moon. He's the boss of this new moon. So when he's retrograde, he's kind of like, he's going to be visible later on, by the way, mid-September. That's the other thing about him, becoming a visible planet and then talking to Uranus makes it very visible news. So right now he's invisible. Right now he's retrograding. So we don't really see what this new moon is going to build up to at first. It's going to take a while. I'd say it's going to be showing us its true sort of stripes, what it's really about for the world at the end of September. Alrighty, Denebola, what else does she say? I'm just reading the book. Sorry, I need the light on the book. It's dark here. I'm recording in the day. I have to have a ring light on. It's thunder and lightning and rain and dark clouds today, August the 29th. I'm recording for a Patreon who gets it ad-free early access. Check out my Patreon community for $5 a month minimum. You get all this stuff before the crowd. Back to Denebola. Denebola. She says, with difficult planets, this can mean you're out of step with society. Well, a lot of us are out of step on purpose, impulsive, unpredictable, a persecutor or vulnerable to persecution, all right, daring or generous, despair, regrets, twitches and spasms, increases the need for appreciation, gaining notice. Okay. So these are just broad star delineations that various people have created. Is it true? Is it not true? I don't know. But what I would say is this. Okay, guys, I'm going to slow it down a bit. I know I talk fast. I feel that what we're stepping into as I record this August 29th may be a collective narrative to do with Virgo, health, power and authority, a coat of arms that is retrograde, about old news. Mercury, domicile lord, where the new moon is happening, is retrograding at about 8 degrees of Virgo on this lunation on September 14th. And therefore, the feeling I'm having here is something along the lines of what old stories that we've already encountered to do with Virgo, health, details, health, usually health, medicine, health, are coming back because we're going back over old ground. And the only thing I can think of course, are the pandemic stories, because as I record this on August the 29th, what we have happening is we have this big news story that the TSA has given alerts to the airport people that there may be, or the government has alerted the TSA, there may be a return to masking, to vaccine passports, to restrictions for travel, all of that. Is that true? Is that rumor true? I don't know. This is like, I'm recording August 29th. There are new variants, in particular, a new downline from Omicron that has a lot of mutations on the spike protein. And then there's all this kind of talk about whether that's going to cause a problem with the health of people because it's so different than any other of the actual strains, but it's still Omicron. And so now there's all this kind of build up. And then number 3, there's a lot of like talk and push talk around the newest booster that'll be available being somewhat essential for everyone to get. Because why? I don't know. Because that new booster will be based on an old variant, but nonetheless. So there's this kind of like return, what is it? Like Back to the Future, return of the past, And most people kind of moved on, right? Like most people are like, been there, done that. I'm not doing that again. Won't mask up, won't fall under restrictions again, won't like listen to the non-science policy made by politicians, not scientists who were silenced and now are speaking out, things like that. Now, to be clear, I'm just trying to read the sky. Right. It seems to me, because you have Mercury sextiling the god of plagues, Apollo, that there's going to be stories about that emerge in the month after the September 14th new moon, and then later on all the way through to the fulfillment in February of next year. So it's a culmination over the months. Nemesis is divine justice and revenge, but divine justice, the divine order being restored as mortals go awry and astray, and along comes Nemesis to fix the problem. So Romans had a thing for her, the Greeks had a thing for her, she had shrines, she was a big deal. It feels to me like if you have a god of divine justice connected to a god of plagues in a sextile flow to retrograde Mercury, right? And a whole sign flow to the new moon. And then on top of that, in a sextile to Uranus, right? That's creating a mini grand trine, which is positive. We have something good trying to happen here. I'm not feeling all that doomsaying. I'm like, maybe there's going to be an attempt by people in power and big money that goes with it to corral the masses into panic or pandemonium, especially with Chiron and Pan really acting up together and a bunch of other stuff coming through the sky in November, the asteroid Pan. But maybe people aren't going to bite, because also there's litigiousness to this Denebola star, which means people want to sue, right? And even Nemesis was about revenge. So like, okay, mortal revenge, not even divine revenge. So there may be something going on here that, well, the masters of the universe are plotting to dominate reality with control, that maybe the people will have none of it. I think that Pluto, when he goes back into Aquarius in January, will be surprising, because people think it's going to be a need to dominate people. But I think it's going to be people power. I think people are going to rise and rebel. And maybe I'm just an optimist, but it feels to me more hopeful than less hopeful. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I think a lot of the people feel that way, right? Around alarm bells being rung prematurely, irresponsibly, unnecessarily by political forces, not scientific forces, about situations to do with global health. All right, that's my take on that. Now, Mercury gives all the news that's fit to deliver, and he likes to give news. He's also the guy that's about commerce and markets and merchandising and selling, right? And he's also about travel. That's one of his wheelhouse things. When this full moon happens in February, there's a Sabian symbol on the full moon called a merry-go-round. And one of the meanings in the book that I use that I quite like is to do things all over again, like to be stuck in place, to do it again, like on rote. I mean, like, let me grab that Sabian just for a quickie look again. Like this woman says, who writes this book that I like, Diana Roche. She's quite deep. I've had this book for years. She says something like a merry-go-round, repetition of cycles. Okay. And then she actually says like the downside would be making mistakes again that you've made before, basically going. And also she says what goes around comes around. Yee. So we'll see what that looks like. Hopefully what goes around comes around, but we'll see. My God, it's so bright in here, but if I take off the ring light, it'll be in the dark. And what else can I tell you guys? I don't like that the Nemesis, I do not dislike or like that Nemesis and Apollo are together conjunct at 21 and 22 of Cancer. Let me show this to you. I'm sorry, I should have shown it to you guys. I forgot to do that. I was going to give you the eyeball of this thing. Sorry, guys. Here we go. If you're the premier watching this live with me, probably coming up on whatever the weekend days are, Saturday, whatever, the 2nd of September, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, or share these videos if you like my videos. I really appreciate you guys. In fact, I'll do a little shout out to my regulars in 5 seconds. Let me get done with this story. So as you can see here, what we've got going is we have Nemesis. I'm going to make the annotation thing work. Last time it wouldn't work. I have no idea why. Oh, there we go. So there we have it. There we have Apollo, that's a circle with a swoosh through it, sun god. And then we have Nemesis, okay, the divine retribution. You can see that this is the south node in Libra at 25 degrees and the north node. The nodes with Chiron, the god of medicine and healing. These nodes have moved here since July, right? They just got here mid-July, be here till January of 25. It's a new story. I'll be doing big eclipse videos coming up. A couple of them. One of them was one of my favorite people, Candice Marie of Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. We're collaborating on one of our eclipse stories for this coming fall. And then we have, that's called a T-square. Okay, you get the gist. I know I can make a straight line too, but I decided to draw, right? That's a T-square. It's a badly formed T-square. But nonetheless, it is gnarly tension between the nodes of destiny and fate. And if you add Pluto, we'll have a grand cross, for goodness sakes, a loosely formed grand cross. So basically, it's all said and done. You can see this is a very tense aspect that looks like a big box in the sky that these guys form at the time of the lunation. Remember? Okay, right here, that's the new moon at 21 degrees and 58 minutes of Virgo. There's Mercury in domicile, hanging there, doing his thing, retrograding, and, basically saying, I'll be back, I'm going over old ground. He goes direct on September 15th. And then you see, boom, the trine he has, the flow to Uranus co-present with Jupiter. Now, this is usually positive. It may be surprising, but we might perceive a trine as fortuitous. So I really like that. In our individual charts, I'm going to be talking about the surprise and the bounty, Jupiter-Uranus, that this energy is, potentially opening up. I mean, not Mercury. I meant to put it to the sun and moon are trining Uranus, but there's a whole sign trine from Mercury, Lord of the lunation. So we're going to go into the details for each sign about what this might look like to say a bounteous, positive, surprise to do with commerce, news, information, travel, health, Virgo parts of your sky, because Virgo is one part of your sky. You have 12 houses in the whole sign house system. Notice there's no Placidus here. Whole sign houses. This is a set for an Aquarius rising. And the Virgo real estate is one part of your sky. Go get my Meanings of the 12 Houses Deep Dive PDF freebie in my description box. If you go under my description box, I've got a bunch of free content for you to download and grab. And that description that PDF is in depth. So you'll know what the meaning of your Virgo pie slice is. Because for an Aquarius rising me, it happens to be the 8th house, right? Chunky money, inheritances, shared resources with a spouse, occult secrets, and more. All right. So it will mean something specific to you that this lunation is trining Uranus for me in the house of home, property, and real estate. So we'll be talking about that for each separate sign shortly. The other thing I want to say about this, what else did I want to mention here? I know I'm going to forget it. Okay, I forgot already. Yeah, that's typical. Let's do a little shout out to all my regulars. Yes, why? Because I actually took time to write some of you guys down, because honestly, in my guest book, I realize I keep forgetting some of the people that have always been hanging out in the live premiere. So let's talk about the names that I'm going to shout out, and I'm going to stop the share because basically when I do all signs, I don't want those annotations there. It's like gnarly. Don't forget, check my description box, like, subscribe. You guys know the drill. But anyway, in my regular crew, they seem to show up on all of my live premieres. We talk together, we chat. If you don't know what that is, guys, if you're listening to this later, it's that I pre-record the video. Patreon gets it a few days before you guys. When it goes live, but I always set up a live chat room, chat box where I'm there with you watching the entire content in the same time you are, and we're discussing it together or just catching up on our lives. And so if you want to meet me in a chat room format, 24 videos a month, I do it that way. Well, less than that, but like 14 to 15 videos a month, I do it that way. Just come join me. The rest of the videos that I don't do the live chat are I dump out the 12 videos for all signs each month. Okay, so thank you for all my regulars, MM and Balkan 200, Bold and Beautiful Tarot, Discerning Light, Jupiter 8, Stephen the Jupiterian, Michael Thrash, and Serge Labelle, Our Soul Songs, Flower Remedy, One Wise Lady, One Rare Bird. Do you guys not love these names that people have? One Rare Bird, Herbal Empress, Grounded Extracts, I keep forgetting about you, Linda Calder, Priestess, KMR, Mad Hippies, Life, LA Taylor, Misbehaving, of course, they're the super regular, Psychic Readings with Rose, yay, Psychic Readings with Rose, Chris Ward, Marie Lynn, Vancouver Vixen, and more. Those are a few people I wrote down today from today's live premiere, or my memory. All right, because I had a live premiere on August 29th. Was that today? I think so, the Uranus video. Okay. You can see that I'm getting giddy. All right, so next, we're going to go through all signs. Now, before we do, a couple reminders about it. Your rising sign is usually the most accurate because it represents anybody born in the same 2.5-hour window as you, at the same latitude, longitude as you, in the moment of birth. So, whereas the moon is everybody with the same 2.5 days of you, and the sun is every 30 days. So how could it not be more accurate to be more precise? Plus, the rising sign is your soul entering into reality, and therefore it's very like that liminal between the worlds, and you come on in and you're born, and it's very your perspective, the first house sign, and all that is how you see the world, how you see everything in your world from your perspective. Whereas the moon can be your mom and your home and safety, sometimes your body, elements of fatedness. And the sun can be your dad figures, your career, your purpose, your physical vitality sometimes. Like, in other words, they have many more meanings than just all about you. Yeah, I know. I have my to-do list on my hand. It's not a tat. It's a habit of mine from high school. What else? I can't think I've missed anything about the general themes of this moon. I don't think I have. I like the moon, actually. I don't mind the trine to Uranus with Jupiter there, Jupiter benefic, conjunct Uranus in a wide conjunction. To me, that feels positive. We do have the day of the moon. We do have Mercury in an opposition to Saturn. Saturn is retrograde, Mercury is retrograde, and that's not an easy energy, but Mercury's just a lunation lord, right? I mean, he's the guy in charge. That's why we know after September 15th, when he goes direct and visible as well in the middle of the month, that we're going to see the output of this moon. Some people do new moon, what do you call it? New moon, my brain come back on intentions or magic or whatever. I'm not sure about this one. I wouldn't do new moon magic with Uranus involved, and Denebola as well. It feels a little sketchy to me because Uranus is the unexpected, and how can you provide magical, direction to a god that's so transpersonal? Uranus is like, well, I don't care what you want. I'm like the Uranus, the sky god. I bring lightning and thunder, and you can't make this stuff up. I'm recording on a day when there's lightning and thunder outside my window, and Vancouver never has lightning and thunder. Vancouver, Canada doesn't get that kind of weather. But of course, Uranus is a sky god trining the moon when I'm recording, like about this thing that's going to happen in September. And I also said the 16 number, the tower, the tarot card of a lightning bolt striking the tower and people falling out, is a part of this story. Now, because there's a trine to Uranus, and he has got a disruptive weather, and he is retrograding, Jupiter is there, blows him up larger than life. There is a possibility of a difficult environmental weather type meteorological event coming up because of this. And Uranus station retrograde on a star Capulus, and I did that in my Uranus retrograde video. This retrograde started on the 28th of August, and Capulus and the constellation in which that star falls often is about extreme weather and meteorological events for the world. So again, maybe this new moon also is going to draw our attention to extreme weather and weather events, maybe involving water. Mercury opposite Saturn in the sign of water, hardship with water. Then we're talking, and especially there's canals and stuff like that, canals, dams, and things like that involved with Capulus. You know, it's and the lunar mansion that it's situated in, the Chinese lunar mansion from the Uranus station retrograde. Last video, go check it out. So new moons don't always mean good things, right? It can be pointing to some severe difficulty at sea. War at sea, weather at sea, sea overflowing, tsunamis, earthquakes. Yay! Oh my God. Yay. Now, when we get to the all signs, life isn't all about that. Very few of us are going to be in the tsunami if there is one. So what can I do with that? Not much. Let's go back to the all signs portion. We're going to do that now. And we're going to start with Aries, of course. Any last thoughts I have about the collective? Well, let's look at the US for a second, because I am a Canadian, live in Canada, but of course I always pay attention to the United States. Mercury is at 8 degrees, and of course he's going retrograde, as I mentioned. And I do think that Joe Biden's moon is really close to that Mercury. Let me just take a quick peek into the future here. I think it's early degrees no, Joe Biden's moon is in the early degrees of Taurus. Okay, so forget that. Mercury's trine but retrograde. The United States Sibley chart is a Sagittarius rising, right? That's the 11th house. That's not the 11th house. This is just because I've got it set up for me, okay? Aquarius rising, all about me. I'm going to move it, and I'm going to make it a Sag rising chart. Of course, just when you need to do it, the universe doesn't want you to do it. But let's go ahead, get that Sag rising chart going, move it back again. There we go. So the United States is a 12-degree Sag rising Sibley chart. Signing a Declaration of Independence chart is what I'm talking about. I think it's around 12 Sag, and that's the U.S. rising sign, and that's the sign of the enemies and hidden enemies and visible enemies. And of course, Mars was there for 6 months during that whole Ukraine-Russia onset war thing, during 7 months during Mars's long stay in Gemini. Last October through to March of 23. So, but what I would say about the moon, if you want to take a peek, this is a new moon in the top of the sky, which represents Biden or the party in charge, right? Which is the Democrats, or the governance, or the governing bodies that everyone sees in charge, not the bureaucracies. The bureaucracies are the 9th house, or not just the legislature. That's the 9th house. I mean, who's the top dog? The sun. Okay. So a new moon, a new beginning in the United States chart to do with leadership. Well, obviously, because Biden and or Trump are probably not going to be the final candidate for the election. And maybe on that full moon in February, we're going to see why. We're going to see who steps away and who steps up to be running in each of those parties. Mercury is retrograde at the top of the sky, and he wanted to deliver news at the 3rd week of August to do with U.S. leadership, but was unable to do so. That would be kind of shocking, but maybe well received by some people. And what'll happen, to me, my mind, is around September 29th to October 1st or 2nd, the news is going to come out about a leader or a person in power in the United States government. Okay, it can be a top person, doesn't have to be Biden, somebody up close to the top. So keep that in mind. And the other thing I'd say about this is there's Nemesis, and there's the plague god Apollo in the house of secrets and hidden things. This is also a god of prophecy. So there could be some economic forecasting to do with the stock market, some prophetic forecasts made here, and divine retribution, because this is the house of the markets potentially, as well as just things that are secrets. And we see that there's a T-square to the nodes of fate with this part of the chart that can represent the stock markets in the United States, the 8th house. So yeah, it's a very It's a very tense time. I've talked about this in a whole other video. Go check it out, please. I have so many videos about why. Go look at my recent videos, and I talk at length about why I see difficulty, particularly the Mars. Go to look at my Mars transit through Libra, the Mars transit through Libra in 87 and 1968 and 1931, all, and when the North-South node in Libra and Mars combined forces, it led to a bear market, a stock crash, economic downturn, recession, all of that. So we are going to likely experience something like that for sure. There's Mars and Libra heading for that South node, which is going to happen inevitably. All right. That's in October. And before that happens, we're seeing like, what's this moon trying to say about this part, the markets of the United States stock markets. Okay. Anything else before we move on? This is the labor force in the United States, the sixth house, the working class, the working people, the people with jobs, right? But surprise. So maybe at the end of September, there's some surprising good economic news. I'd be surprised if there was, but it could be. But Uranus is retrograde, Jupiter is retrograde. So I don't know. The retrograde planets seem to be closer to Earth. We see them more visibly. We also can feel a retrograde planet is going over like pulling back a bow, like a slingshot, and it's going to let loose on something when it goes direct. And Jupiter goes direct. Oh my God, Lori, can you remember when? December 30th, and Uranus goes direct January 27th. So a lot of what you're seeing here, even like to do with this sky, you may not see the fullness of what it is really about until the end of December, January into February as we approach that full moon. All right. So let's go through the all signs portion of this reading. I will keep this chart up like this because my sister is a time stamper. And it helps her timestamp. And I know some people don't like me being a tiny little person in the top corner for some reason, but until I change my software for recording, which I may, this is what it looks like. So hang in there with me, would you? Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, check my description box for everything I offer, including my Sky Reader class that's starting up in the third week of September. It goes for 6 weeks. Be your own astrologer, time your best life. Good for intermediate to beginner astrologers, all right? All right, I'm not going to start with Sag, obviously. I'm going to move us to Aries. So that's the plan anyway. Come on, software, let's get rolling. This will take us off the right degree, but just ignore it, okay? I was going to say September 13th. This is September 14th. There's the new moon. It's at 21. Don't worry about the degrees because I'm going to be moving forward and you'll see the moon moves quickly, right? So we'll see the actual 21 degrees come up halfway through this video. Alrighty, let's roll. If you are an Aries sun moon and you are looking rising and you are looking at this lunation, don't forget, connect a dot. There's a new moon, new beginning in your sixth house of health. This is literal. This is like, what do you do to stay healthy? Are you going to do a sobriety thing? Are you going to like work out more often? Are you going to take away some bad habits? Are you going to stop those addictions? New beginnings for you, Aries, sun, moon, and rising people. I'm an Aries moon and sun. I'm doing sober September. So there you get an example. But the new moon goes longer than this event, right? And it's also the workspace. Are you going to work differently? Find a new job, change your work habits and routines, get a new pet. New moon, new beginning. Get a new rental agreement, new moon, new beginning in the sixth house for a property or place you live. And this new moon is going to show its fullness to you in February, around the 24th of February next year, out a month. So you must understand the beginning is here, the end point is there and then. But because there is a new moon beginning here, you might want to wonder what's going on. Mercury, Lord of the sky, or the domicile Lord, is at home managing this moon. So look for the full effects of your full momentum in all those sixth house matters that I just mentioned to really be most available September 15th onward as he goes direct through to October 5th. You may not see the full picture until we get a direct motion and even more visible Mercury in the sky. I like this as well if you are somebody who wants a good money surprise. Woohoo! Because Uranus, Jupiter, bounteous Jupiter and Uranus, even though retrograde, meaning maybe bringing you a monetary surprise, but it's not totally because you recognize that you've seen this potential coming or you have been in this place before, but it's still a nice exhilaration financially. Now, the exhilaration can happen in the 30 days that follow the moon, particularly after the 15th, but also in the 6 months. It kind of bakes in a promise of good, exciting financial expansion. 15 degrees Jupiter, 21 degree lunation. It is a broad trine. So how exciting is that? Money glow up. My sister Nancy, title it Money Glow Up, please. Then well, you don't title these little subsections, but it is a money glow up, a resources glow up, a financial glow up, because the second house is earnings. If you're going to have this kind of nemesis thing, divine retribution and balance, and you're also going to add to prophecy god Apollo or plague god Apollo, there's some kind of solar sun god light in your house of your home and domestic environment, your land, property, and real estate, and balance. I mean, don't forget, Nemesis was not revenge, really. Yes, I think it was a Greek selector for revenge. The Romans saw her as divine justice, balance, and equilibrium, bringing things back into harmony. So we have a return to harmony in your home, harmonious things in and from the home. And this, of course, is like divine harmony in the sign of the moon. This is the moon's, own temple, and she's looking over from a new moon in Virgo. So it looks to me like a lot of good things to do with your workspace too. Health and workspace, divine rebalance, domestic life, harmony, peace, and home. I like it, especially really good for leases and contracts to lease a property or lease out a property, be the renter or the tenant. This looks very sweet. And don't forget, it goes all the way through to a fullness by the end of February into March of next year. Anything else to say about you guys? Well, a new moon, new beginning in the sixth house to remind you that Mercury is also the ruler of your third. And it can indicate perhaps some new beginnings that are opening up for travel for you. Third house matters over the 6 months that follow. And that may be bringing some also prosperity through travel. Or even prosperity through siblings, especially younger. Third house matters. Oh, I need to do a chiropractic adjustment. I'm a total chiropractor lover, but I've been using Atlas Chiropractic there. I just click my Atlas back in. I've been using some bone Atlas Chiropractic for years, ever since my son was hit by a car when he was 9 and his head was tilted, although he was miraculously alive. And I saw the before and after x-ray on the Atlas Chiropractic. It was amazing. Okay, I'm going to see my chiropractor soon. Moving on. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. So there's a new moon that happens every year, by the way, but here's this new moon in your house of romance. Their fifth house is romance. It's also your children, sexuality, fertility, for getting pregnant. As I said to a lot of Tauruses, Jupiter in your first house is a pregnancy signature if you're female. If you're biologically able to have children, whatever you want to call it. And this new moon, new beginning in the sign of Virgo is going to bring you maybe a few things. It can open up a door of more joy, play, fun, and pleasure, and love and romance and goodness with your children over the next 6 months, and even in the month that follows this moon. But with Jupiter, Uranus involved in a trine to this lunation, it's very bounteous, unexpected, maybe goodness that you feel very personally about you. You feel lucky, you feel expansive, you feel exhilarated, you feel, oh, look at these exciting changes. If you have kids, they may be having these changes and you're excited by them, or your grown kids may be telling you what's going on and you're excited by it. It doesn't always have to be about you. The chart's not always about you. Creative projects, entrepreneurial projects, new beginnings, new seeds. You're coming to fullness on creative and entrepreneurial projects between now and all the way down the pipeline to February, March of next year with the full moon. I would say that with a sextile to your third house, where you have this divine balance taking place with Nemesis, you may find divine balance regarding your local neighbors, neighborhood, cousins, and siblings, or divine balance in the travel parts of your life. The local neighborhood and the neighbors and the shops and the restaurants in your hood is very third house. Unless you do have a virtual neighborhood because you work online and you have a website and you use social media platforms, another meaning of the third house, this can very much invite you to find some balance in how you interact with those neighbors, your home, your environment, your neighborhood, the dry cleaners, with the restaurants, etc. And interestingly, Mercury also is the ruler of your second house of earnings, and it may indicate that by being more joyful, creative, entrepreneurial, engaging with those areas of your life, you may maybe creating new beginnings and how you will financially prosper over the next 6 months, and fullness coming in February, March of next year. Money luck can happen in speculation in the fifth house, like going to the casino, buying a lottery ticket, taking a chance, gaming to win. And because it's got Mercury, who's sitting here, kind of games of chance guy himself, I would say September 15th to October 5th, you might be able to win at a game of chance because you got lucky Jupiter and Uranus in a sextile from the house of you, and you are lucky right now. So Taurus, Sun, Moon, but especially rising, I say playfully, don't overinvest, but it's okay to buy a lottery ticket September 15th to October 5th. I've had people on this channel come back and tell me that, by the way, that they follow those bits of advice, and it turned out that they actually did win during those little times I mentioned. But do not do anything crazy. In Canada, we say know your limit, play within it. It takes one ticket to win, guys. You don't need 50 tickets. Those odds are not going to make a difference. Alrighty, moving forward. Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. So Geminis, this is a story of a new beginning, a new moon on September 14th that will come to fruition next February, March, end of February into March. And this is about your home. It's where you live. It's your domestic and private life. It's your mother. It's your childhood and your childhood stories. But it's a new moon, and it can be very literally a new home, right? But of course, you're not going to have a new home every year when there's a new moon here. What other signals do we have that you could have a new home? Well, we do have some. One, we have some new beginnings, new home stories connected to Jupiter and Uranus in a flowing positive way from the house of the foreign shores, foreigners and foreign lands, a new home in a foreign land, perhaps a new home because of revenue and commerce you've generated from a foreign land. That's possible for some of you, Geminis. My progressed sun's in Gemini, which is my career planet, but I could also find myself, because of that career planet, new home, foreign shore, opportunity, commerce, and revenue, for example. Who knows, right? This part of the sky can be it's like the midnight hour down here. It's dark, right? It's your hidden, secretive, private, domestic life, what you do when nobody sees you. And Mercury's here. You may be going back over old ideas, old writing projects, old commercial projects, old marketing projects, backward retrograde, right? Thinking about how until September 5th, you might want to redo something here and pull back on that bow in order to relaunch something or recreate something. I'll be going back, I hope, and finishing a couple channel books that I've been writing. I'll be going back and revising the Sky Reader course because I have my son in Gemini, so I'm using me as an example. And this lunation means you're planting some deep new seeds in a revision of something that you have done before but want to deepen it, especially if it involves teaching, a trine to Jupiter, or opportunity for revenue abroad or through PayPal, Stripe, and foreign payment processor systems. You can also say, Gemini, that we have this nemesis for balance and harmony, divine balance and harmony in your finances. It's time to find that divine balance in your finances. Maybe Apollo here isn't the plague. Maybe Apollo is prophecy, using your intuition or other forces to see forward what you need to do to create balance and more divine balance in your finances regarding spending, saving, and making money. And this moon can help you achieve that, especially in the 6 months that follow. This Mercury is the ruler of your first house of your body and your identity. So certainly it may support you to become more available to better health over the 6 months that follow, especially if it's about addictions, because sometimes, 12th house, 6th house axis where Jupiter trines this moon is about addictions and self-undoing. I'd say, the balance and harmony in the second house is what you put in your mouth, the vape, the cigarette, the cocaine in your nose. I hope not. The bad food that you shouldn't eat. Balance and harmony and what you put in your mouth is what second house is about. And so a lot of you are looking at better health through better dietary and substance habits over the 6 months that follow. I'm looking forward to that as a Gemini sun. Now I'm going to take a quick pause and grab some chocolate. If you're still listening to me in the live premiere and we're chatting about this video, can you hit that like button? And that really helps me grow. And if you're listening later, can you do the same? And I'll be right back. Just going to get myself a chocolate fix. Okay, I'm back. Chocolate makes a big difference when you're recording for a long time. Let's get going and talk about the next sign. We just did my progressed sun is in Gemini. People ask me about progressions. Don't listen to them as your primary source. Listen to your natal sun, natal moon, natal rising. Then you can secondarily choose your progressed ascendant, progressed sun, etc. You don't know what those are and how to do them. I can't explain them here. Take a class with me and I'll teach you how. All right. Sun is easy. It progresses about a degree a year. So if you're 30, it's 30 degrees further along. 60, it's 60 degrees further along than where it was when you were born in zodiacal order. Okay, moving into the next story of Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. Okay, so Cancers, we have this new moon, and it's very important for you because these asteroids we're going to be talking about here are in the sign of you, right? So this is a big deal for you. But here we have this new moon, new beginning in the sign of Virgo, Mercury's home sign. And it's a new beginning that happens every year for you, right? And this time it's back again, September 14th, in the house of your siblings, your cousins, your especially younger siblings, your local neighborhood, your neighbors, trips and travel, skills-based learning, like taking a class, getting a license, communicating, writing, blogging, things to do with your online world, especially if you have a website and stuff like that. So, and how do I know that? Let me tell you, I've been watching the sky long enough, but anything big happening in my third house, it's all about my website. It's all about my business online. And yes, I have planets there, but you'll notice that your third house is like the virtual neighborhood these days. Okay, so you'll see this new beginning in something you're doing either in the local hood, online, or with a sibling. And it will feature a fullness in February into March of next year with the Virgo full moon on February 24th. So keep that in mind. Although, of course, like every new moon, you may see evidence of what's going on in the month that follows. This is a new beginning that has to do maybe also with things you wish to do regarding health and third house matters. And so maybe eating at the better restaurants, choosing the smoothie bar instead of the pizza joint. It could be that, But for the most part, it's really maybe also about a new beginning when it comes to your siblings, your travel and journeys. And it even could be about a sibling. A sibling is having a new beginning, not you. And they're going to have a fresh start at something. There's a retrograde Mercury home with the new beginning. And he's lording over it, although he is retrograde. And he will be becoming visible in the sky. I believe it's around this time of this moon, just after that. I have to go back and look. But by the end of September, he's definitely fully visible. So we have a visible lunation, which is wonderful. And visible Mercury coming into the end of the month of September. So keep in mind that you might be going back over old ground in a writing project, events to do with trips and travel, maybe a delay here because Mercury's retrograde and travel plans, or a decision to go back and relook at travel plans anew and maybe rethink whether or not this is something you want to do. Because like literally Mercury's just about to turn around, right? On the 15th, he's getting ready to say, what the fig, I'm not retrograde anymore. See you later. There's a quality here of being on a precipice of change that's pretty short. Like, the next couple of days you go, yeah, I do want to take that trip. Oh my God, I do want to reach out to that sibling, or yes, that sibling should visit me, or things like that. But this new beginning and also fruiten up and ripen into something really amazing. If you have an online presence, you're working online, you want to open up a retail business locally because Mercury's marketing and merchandising. You want to write a book. Did I say that? Communicate something significant. But you might have to go back a little bit, just a little bit, rethink it, and then go forward after Mercury turns direct on the 15th. The other part of the sky is that there is this flow and trine to Jupiter and Uranus, and this is positive. It's a trine in the nature of Jupiter, apparently. Jupiter's bounty and luck and prosperity and goodness, and he's in his joy in the 11th house of good spirit. You can't ask for a better placement for him, retrograde or not. And there's Uranus, also retrograde, and he's all about the unexpected, the exciting, the radically fresh and new, something you didn't see coming. Because it's also at a sibling house. This is your elder sibling, the 11th, you're younger. This can also involve sibling stories as well. Back to what's going on with the siblings if you have younger and older siblings. Somebody in power who's a influencer, who's like a big brother or sister, can be benefiting you, because Jupiter here means those people are coming to support you. You're getting benefits and friends with benefits, but they're good benefits, and your gains in your career can amplify with Jupiter here all the way through to the end of May next year. But he is retrograde, so before he's going to give you the goods, and that happens after December 30th as we move into the new year, he's going to pull back a bit and go over ideas and things that we need to fix up. Ideas is Mercury, ideas, new beginnings, ideas about writing projects, marketing and selling projects, online world projects, going back, new ideas about travel agreements, travel arrangements with siblings, and he's pulling back. And so is Uranus, but they're eventually both going forward, right? The end of December and the third week of January. So whatever this moon is doing, it's going to fully pop some good stuff later in the year. I say that you may find a friend from the past, Jupiter retrograde, that you're surprised to hear from, connecting to you in a couple weeks after this new moon. And you might be surprised, but benefiting from them. And they may be saying, hey, I'm going to be in town. I'm going to visit you. It's just that kind of crazy stuff, right? Because it's sometimes the sky is just super literal. But this would be a wealthy friend, a positive friend, an expansive friend, a generous friend at that, or a sibling. You might be revising your hopes, dreams, and wishes, because that's what Jupiter and Uranus are doing. That's the house they're in. They're both trying to revise your long-range goals and your way you want to secure greater financial gain in your career. And they're doing some revision here, where they're both retrograding over the next few months. And at the same time, you've got some ideas going on in the third house. Maybe you want marketing, selling, communicating, online or retail outlets, I don't know, local. You're ginning up some new ideas. It looks to me like you're going to create new prosperity in your life as a result of this new moon in the 6 months that follow. New levels of prosperity. Just a little water there, guys. I think divine balance is in the house of you, Nemesis, retribution, yes, but divine balance as well. Do you need to find some more balance in your health, in the way you're perceiving the world? Do you need to bring some harmony into your own personal psyche, and are you meditating enough? There may be a need for some emotional balance here. And, Mercury, who's with that new moon, and the moon is the owner of the house here, right? The house where this is all happening, the house of you. And you start in finding harmony and balance in parts of your life that have been out of balance, or within yourself in your own way you perceive the world, like, chill out, basically. And you may also be able to prosper from revenue from foreigners and foreign shores in the 6 months that follows this moon, because of the lordship of Mercury over that Gemini 12th house, where Jupiter will enter, by the way, next end of May for a year. Really good for your money if you make money on payment and PayPal and Stripe and all that stuff. Or if you want to travel to foreign lands, but that's a whole other video, All right, now we're moving into Leo, sun, moon, and rising. So Leo, this is a money house for you, right? We make money, we save money, we spend money, we have self-worth, self-value, voice, vocation, calling, money, earnings in your second house, right? All that stuff. You know what? Somebody said in my last video that I did that it was a Capricorn really miffed about the fact that I mentioned like 3 meanings of the 5th house and none of them made any sense to her. Well, there's maybe about 10 meanings of the 5th house, and I actually mention all of the meanings in every video. But you can download my free PDF, everybody, and get the in-depth meanings of each house, okay? But mostly I think I covered all the second house meanings, all right? I think I covered them all. And this is bell curve astrology, meaning that everything won't apply to all the people all of the time. Your chart's individual. It's quite unique. So get a grip. Sometimes I think people are not too bright or something. Excuse me, Elaine. That's mean. That's mean of me. I pull it back. Clearly, you can't expect a general reading to be all about you, right? So here we have that spending and earnings and savings and resources, the food, shelter, and water survival house to keep your body happy, right? Because the second house feeds the first. And you have a new beginning here. So we like that. Now we have Mercury retrograde, a delay in the new beginning. We know that all these new moons will fully flesh out 6 months later. That would be next end of February into March, right? So be patient. It's not a one-day story, but you're hatching some new beginnings regarding finances and maybe new ways of communicating, selling, marketing, and merchandising. That's very Mercury and Virgo energy, potentially very grounded and earthy. And so there's all of those narratives playing out here too. This new beginning is also supported by Jupiter, the god of abundance and wealth and expansion in your career house, as well as Uranus, unexpected surprises and developments. What that says to me is there's some kind of yay you moment going on here. Not maybe in the month after the new moon. A nice little pop in your money career space, a nice little rev up where suddenly you get a new opportunity, a new job offer. If any of that happens, so it may be coming off the heels of something you've done in the past, because Mercury has been retrograde for quite a while. And so he's been dredging the past before the new moon. So you may find that, an old boss, colleague, or coworker gets in touch with you, and in comes this glorious new opportunity. Mercury trining Jupiter, right, which he'll be doing more precisely around September 25th, if my memory serves me, will can bring a new job offer to you. And I find that this new moon here, with its divine balance needed in the 12th, can be really looking at Leo. Where do you overdo your addictions, your self undoing, your self sabotage? Where are you like falling away from yourself because you're not in charge of the habits or the undoings that undo you? That's one way of looking at it. But you may need to find some balance with foreign shores, foreign lands, revenue from foreign countries. You know, the divine balance is being found anyway. This is the temple of the moon where this Nemesis is sitting. This is the lunation lord's, like the lunation itself owns that temple. So you're going to find that you're going to find more balance. I say for most Leo people, it's more balance in ways that you may unconsciously sabotage your reality and be your own worst enemy. You might balance that out and find ways to be your own best hero, your own best ally instead of your own best enemy. With the Gemini ownership, a rulership of your 11th house, elder siblings and or friends who can be benefactors and allies are very, very much a part of what may unfold over the next 6 months, where those people sort of step up and begin to open up some kind of critical turning point support for what you're doing. Also, you may expect to see the evidence of your success in greater and greater career gains financially over the next 6 months because of Mercury's ownership of that 11th house of great gains and the derivative success evidence from your 10th house of career. And anyway, Jupiter here till next May. If you are Leo rising, your career is expanding, luck, growth, opportunity, exhilaration in your career space through to the end of May next year. All right, let's keep going. Virgo sun, Virgo moon, and most accurately rising. This is the sky saying there's a new beginning in you. You are starting all over. Now, a Virgo new moon happens every single year in the fall, and you get a chance to reset your life, reset the button of who you are. Isn't that exciting? I think so. And so, you know, the new moons are usually, well, obviously when the sun has to be in Virgo. So sometime around August the 21st through to September 21st, there's a new moon here. And this time it's September 14th because it's in the late degrees of Virgo, third decan. And you're looking at this opportunity to redo you, start yourself all over again, reset the button, reset the odometer. It can be about your health protocols, your way of seeing the world, your identity, sense of self, how you view all of your life. This reset has a Mercury retrograde getting ready to turn direct the next day. So you've been trudging the past, thinking about the past. You've been thinking about your past. You've been rethinking yourself. You've been going back over the past of your thoughts about yourself, you know, whatever. You've been going back over old ground. Now you're about to go forward. Mercury's becoming visible. You're thinking, oh my God, now I'm going to set things in motion. And, you know, it's a 6-month narrative. By February, end of February into March of next year with that February 24th full moon in the sign of you, which will be happening around 5 degrees by the way of Virgo, there's this huge energy of completion of this new beginning here. You know, if you're a Virgo sun, moon, and rising, of course, if your rising sign especially is near 21 degrees, hello, of course you're going to get the most oomph from this. So pay attention. You could be like a 19 or an 18 to 24 degree Virgo rising, and it's a big deal for you. This is a very important version of a new moon, new beginning. You could say, I would even extend it a bit maybe, but you know, maybe 5 degrees on either side of 21. You're resetting a button. It's a brand new start, a fresh beginning in you, and you get support from Jupiter. And I love that. And Jupiter is in a very spiritual house, a house of God. This could be support from pastors, counselors, therapists, people advising you. This could be support from father figures. The 9th house could be that in Indian Vedic astrology. You've got some surprises, but they're positive. Jupiter's here, and yet it's retrograde Jupiter, retrograde Uranus. Nobody's going to be fully direct until the end of December and the last week of January. So some of these like later delays in seeing the full bounty that's here may happen. But if you're like in an academic setting, such as my Virgo rising daughter, and you have this new beginning in a trine to Jupiter in the house of academics, it's a really amazing placement, honestly. You may be feeling like you're resetting and re-beginning because of academic success or academic traction. and you're deepening your academic devotion. Jupiter's retrograde, or a professor from the past is supporting you. This is great for legal outcomes for courts and court matters over the next 6 months. This is great for planning trips and having bounteous, positive, exciting experiences from foreigners or foreign countries, or your trips to foreign countries. Or if you're in a third marriage, second marriage could be the second house, third marriage could be the ninth house in one of the two techniques from India. So third marriages are getting a bounteous uplift for you, Virgo, sun, moon, and rising people. By marriage, long-term committed monogamous live-in partnerships usually, okay, whether you're legally married or not. We have this balance being required when it comes to friendships, okay? Friendship groups and circles, maybe elder sibling, maybe the way you're deriving career gains, money from your career. Divine justice, divine balance, divine harmony, nemesis. Now, balancing out, because there's retribution and revenge here, but it's all flowing, right? It's a flowing sextile from this to that, and Jupiter. So all, and Uranus, it's called a mini grand trine here. I'm not drawing it in, but it's there. You might have to create some balance with your friends. Maybe they're demanding too much of your time. Maybe you're giving them too much of your time. Maybe some of your friends are out of balance and you need to balance out away from them because they're lopsided somehow. But you're just trying to balance that out, trying to find some divine balance in your dreams and wishes for your life, and also with the money you're making in your career. So my Virgo rising daughter is going to have 2 jobs this fall, and go to school. I bet your bottom dollar, September 14th new moon, add 6 months, she's going to realize she can only do 1 job at a time. Yeah, right? Hardworking Virgos, you guys work so hard. You work so hard. You guys are grinders by nature. What else? Some of you may have an unexpected surprise because you're traveling to a foreign land. So my Virgo rising girlfriend will be in a foreign country, gallivanting through Europe. During this time, I'll be watching her dog Milo. And this Jupiter trine on this lunation with Jupiter and Uranus. Suspect I will hear about some exciting developments from her about this journey and what it opens up in her identity for herself. Mercury will travel. Maybe she'll extend her trip. Maybe she'll come back quickly. I don't know. The other thing is that you have the ruler of Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, your 10th house of reputation and career. Could mean that some of what goes on in the next 6 months from this new moon, just because Jupiter will eventually move here next May, will involve a big significant identity shift around career in the underpinnings of this moon, right? You may change your career objectives. If you're a student, your majors, or what you think you're going to do with your work. That's very possible for a lot of Virgos over the next 6 to 8 months. Alrighty, Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. What time are we at? Hang on, guys. I need to take a time break. Give me a minute. All right, time break, 3:22. Okay, I'm going for a foot massage with my friend Sylvia, the Virgo, and I can't wait to get one. And she's leaving town. I'm watching her dog for the next month, and she leaves tomorrow. So she's treating me to a foot massage. I love foot massages. This one is at a real dig-in reflexology place run by a Chinese lady. Oh, what's her name again? Jada. Oh my God, my brain. I know her name because I've been going to her for years. Jady. Anyway. Let's keep going. We are on the Libras. Sorry, timestamp sister, Libra, sun, moon, and rising. So very subtle energies in the 12th. I always say that. It's really hard to see this house, the 12th, from your perspective, as it is harder to see the 8th, the 6th, and the 2nd. Those are versions or semi-sextiles and inconjuncts to your ascendant degree. So in that sense, it's over there, but a little peripheral to you, is this new beginning. And yes, every August, September, there's a new moon here. But your 12th house can be very much that Akashic records, past lives, psychological, spiritual attainment, like seeking God, finding God, getting enlightened. It can also be, places where you could have downloads from meditations and stuff. For some people, it's commerce and revenue from foreign countries, and Mercury can support that. So if you're a Libra, you may get a new beginning regarding some bounteous financial opportunities, because this Mercury rule lunation is going to also open up a gateway of prosperity in your 8th house. That's Jupiter wanting to give you unearned chunky money between now and the end of next May. Commissions, severance packages, signing on bonuses, maybe big chunks of money from an inheritance or a trust fund or something like that, or even a property or real estate sale with Pluto still in the 4th house until January. And a lot of this feels to me for many Libras like it's a golden opportunity financially with that Jupiter in the 8th in that trine to the new moon for a new financial beginning through something you may sell. Basically, you can sell a service, you can sell an object, I don't know, but you may sell something. Mercury will be also in that relationship to Nemesis, the god of balance and divine balance and harmony in your 10th house of career. Anything that's been out of balance there, you don't like your job, you're working too hard, you feel tipsy-turvy, something's wrong, there's no balance there. There's a desire to return to balance with that lunation being in a sextile to the divine balance goddess Nemesis. And, it is the temple of the moon, the Cancer temple where it's happening. So the moon does care what happens in her temple, right? So she really wants to bring harmony and balance and even justice to your career. If you've been unfairly treated and you need some divine retribution or revenge, you may get that coming to you over the course of the next 6 months. This new moon always can fulfill itself February 24th at a month in next year, right? When it's a full moon there as well. And, I think that because Mercury will be going direct on the 15th and all of that, we'll see real momentum regarding financial experiences, maybe some of them connected to your career because of that Nemesis sextile to the 10th. Secrets belong to the 8th house. Jupiter expands and Uranus reveals with unexpected shock things that are hidden from your view. 12th house is bed pleasures. Maybe a positive revelation about a sexual secret comes to you over the course of even the month that follows this new moon. More proximate that story would be, but you need it for some kind of better balance in your life. That kind of is a really weird stretch. I don't know how to make sense of that, but I gave it a good shot. And lastly, if you're an occultist, like you're into the mysteries, you do alchemy, you want to know about tarot and astrology and all that stuff, this is Jupiter expanding your knowledge, Uranus giving you pineal gland downloads and third eye insights, and Jupiter, and then this new moon in the very subtle house of your dreams. Mercury is a dream messenger, guys. He's a psychopomp to the house of the dead and dream messenger. So messages from the dead coming in your dreams, basically. All right. Or downloads and insights coming in your dreams in the course of the month after this new moon, but baking in the potential for a lot of that over the next 6 months. Alrighty, Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. Energetically, this is a good place for a new moon because it's the house of good spirit where good things happen and fairy godfathers live here and mothers and genies in bottles and hopes, dreams, and wishes. So, and great gains from your career. So we love things in the 10th, 11th house, one of the good houses. And a new moon, new beginning. 21 degrees of Virgo on September 14th with Mercury co-present as the domicile lord tells me that between this September and maybe February 24th of next year, as the moon is full here, you're going to fulfill a dream, fulfill a wish, fulfill a long-range goal. But you're going to do it because Mercury is saying, yeah, I've got this. We dredged the past before the lunation. We were retrograde for 3 weeks. We've figured out things from the past to do with friends, to do with dreams and wishes. We've gone back over old ground to do with how we wish to create greater career gains. We've been having Venus supporting you to succeed in your career and be popular and appealing. And all of a sudden, this new moon says, these are the new strategies. We're going to start all over. We're going to do it differently. We're going to have different gains strategy. Mercury loves to socialize. You may have been socializing with people from your past, old friends, but now that Mercury is about to go direct, it's now about moving forward into new territory. So there may be new beginnings and social groups of belonging and new friendship circles emerging in the month after this lunation and the 6 months that follow. Because we also have Jupiter in the 7th house of your significant other, like a spouse type relationship or a business partner or your clients. This is going to bring bounty, opportunity, and goodness to you in that part of your life that's unexpected and exhilarating and surprising. That's Uranus. Now, some of this surprising energy could play out in the first month after this new moon, so into mid-October. But also it's a longer story. I'm really learning to up-level your financial goodness, your prosperity from your career through business partners, through client relationships, or your spouse is up-leveling their story and it's supporting your own advancement in your life, or your significant other. Legal marriage not necessary. There is a sextile to the need for balance in the 9th house. Do you need balance when it comes to your travel, long distance travel, balance when it comes to your faith in God and religion, balance up here when it comes to the father figures in your life, balance when it comes to your dharma, and you feel like, am I on track? I'm off balance here. So you're going to rebalance your deeply meaningful metacosmos spiritual house of God. Yeah. So maybe some of you will go back to church. Maybe some of you will find religion. Maybe some of you will start meditating again. Things like that for a lot of Scorpios. And that's something that can unfold over 6 months. It's baked into the 6-month narrative. Because Mercury is also the ruler of Gemini, and he's, the co-present and close to this new moon. This may also trickle into chunky money, inheritance monies, chunks of money, checks coming to you in the mail, commissions, unexpected lump sums, tax rebates, insurance payouts, credit card debt relief. I don't know. It feels positive. There's some chunky money relief stories coming to you in the 6 months ahead for sure. Just because, Mercury is so close to this new moon. He's not always close to a Virgo new moon, guys. He could be in a sign before and after. This is Mercury in domicile. And he has not been, I did a whole video on, this is the most powerful he's been in the sign of Virgo since 2016. I didn't even bring that up in this video, but that's a very important part of the story. Go watch my other video on Mercury's transit through Virgo. So yeah, it's a big deal for you. And it has a lot to do with opening up some more financial goodness in your story, Scorpio, as well. Commissions are in the 8th house, but it's also royalty income. So if any of you have passive income, royalty income on the up level, on the rise, if those things can make sense to you in your life, if those are possible. Alrighty, I'm just going to take a small break. I'm going to get some more water. If you're in the live premiere, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already subscribed. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to check the description box for everything I have to offer. And I'm just going to go slurp some water. Maybe I'll just slurp it in front of you. I have a little bit left. This is a really beautiful glass that my Pisces partner, James, purchased for me at a local, what do you call it? Like a glass blowing place, right? Isn't that gorgeous? I mean, it's just so beautiful. It's my nightstand water glass, but I love it so much I've been carrying it around the house. So, and it's carpeted in my apartment, so I'm prone to breaking, shattering the vessels, and I have not dropped it. So let me take my slurp off camera. I was like, goodbye for a minute. I'm going off camera. Oh my God. Give me a sec. Okay, so I've tried to watch a TV show. Has anybody seen it? I really hated it. It's called Shrinking. I watched 3 episodes and my guy we couldn't stand it. But there's this is so really, I feel like I'm watching a 70s sitcom or Disney show. But there is this girl in the show who's just drinking water all the time. She walks around with a gallon of water. That's me. I am continually hydrating. My sister Nancy thinks I have a psychological problem when it comes to water. I must have died in a desert in a prior life. I really must have. Okay. We continueth on. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. Hey, nothing like a new beginning, new moon, fresh start, odometer reset in your career and reputation, 10th house. The visible actions you're taking in the world as the world notices you doing them, even if you're tired, even if you're a student. What are you doing that everyone watches you do? If you're a student, obviously everyone sees you studying. If you're retired, I guess they see you golfing. I don't know. But whatever it is, it's your visible sky where all the world can see you, and your reputation is up there because you're visible. And there's a new beginning up here. Now, it's also connected to Mercury, and he's in charge of all kinds of things: writing, commerce, ideas, communication, and news. And you may be experiencing a new beginning in your career space with opportunity Jupiter, luck and growth Jupiter in work opportunities, workspace opportunities, unexpected surprise. Everybody's retrograde here, Jupiter, Uranus, and Mercury from the past. Okay, so colleagues, coworkers, bosses, people from the past, emails, phone calls, text messages coming out of the blue, opportunity. That's basically what it is. New moon, new beginning. Sun is the ruler of the 9th house with Venus there. Really good for new beginnings. And any Sages who are into the word international or book publishing as a part, or foreign shores as a part of their career new beginning. This is also like Jupiter here can bring you amazing opportunities, like bosses love you, or the lucky break of a century where you get the job of your dreams. And he's retrograde, so we'll say until the 30th of December, likely that you know about this from the past. Like you always wanted to work at that company, or that boss said years ago, come see me when you need a job or something. And you do it as a Sag, take the opportunity and go run with it. It looks so nice on you, especially next April when Jupiter Uranus collide here. It's going to be a big boost in your work and your health, maybe in your career space as well. Now, I like this divine balance, Nemesis, divine balance, divine harmony in your eighth house. You know, to me, it's like, okay, you need to find some balancing of your financial books, of your savings, your 401k, your investment portfolio. It's time to balance that out. Now, retribution and justice are here, divine justice. Hopefully, you don't need a retribution. I think it's more like find the balance here. You need to balance it out. Maybe you're overweighted in, I don't know, like overweighted in growth stocks and you need to move to high yield dividend stocks. I'm just making something up. Look for balance though. In whatever you're doing in the eighth house, it needs balance right now. You might feel it needs balance and you'll notice that you have opportunities to find balance there. You know, people can be reliant on eighth house monies, like my spouse's money, my trust fund, my savings from my 401k retirement plan. And if you are reliant on that, and that's something you're doing as a Sag, Sun, Moon, or Rising, you need to find some balance. And I know that sounds like pretty like blunt or what do you mean find balance? But I mean, I don't know what I mean. It just is like, are you spending too much of that money? Are you not using enough of it because you're afraid to touch it? Find the balance point is what I'm saying. And I do think that if you've ever had a health challenge bothering you, Jupiter will help you fix it by the end of next May by finding the knowledge and information you need to fix it. And you can fix it suddenly, like overnight success, you know, boom, Uranus, especially next April. But there's a health matter too that can happen here. Jupiter rules your ascendant, your body. He's in the house of sickness. And you may have some new beginnings that are very exciting in the work and reputation space. But who's to say that your reputation isn't like, did you hear about Susie? She had like, a terrible problem with her health and it just disappeared overnight. Shocking, surprising, bounteous, positive health developments. It could be your reputation about your health problem that gets suddenly resolved. Why not? Okay. I can make a joke about a health problem, but I realize there's no health problem you can make a joke about because somebody else may have it and you guys are listening and then I'll be trolled for that. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising sign. A fresh start, new beginning in the sign of Virgo. It's happening now, September 14th. It can culminate February and March next year, end of February into March of next year as a full outcome of what's being seeded in the house of God. New beginnings in academia, new beginnings from foreigners and foreign lands, new opportunities from foreigners and foreign lands. Things that have to do with your spiritual philosophy and beliefs are resetting and restarting here. Mercury is so close at hand. He's looking over on his own kingdom at this new moon at 21 degrees of Virgo, especially if you're Cap, Sun, Moon, or Rising, anywhere between within 5 degrees of 21, you're going to really feel this, obviously. So keep that in mind because it's going to flow to you. This is a really good new moon for Capricorn people. It flows to your sun, it flows to your moon, it flows to your Capricorn ascendant. And the new beginning with Mercury here also, he's been dredging the past, you know, going over old ground with legal matters, travel, foreign shores, foreigners, things to do with court matters, if I didn't say that, things to do with third marriages, things to do with your father figures and your spiritual beliefs, philosophy. And his retrograde has really had you go back, right? Third week of August to mid-September, you're almost reassessing it all. Like, do I believe this? Is this what I believe? Is this my faith? Is this visa, passport, foreign experience really worth it? Is my trip to this foreign country really happening the way I want? Because of course, travel and trips can be, Mercury is a patron of travelers. And pilgrimages to churches, especially in the ninth house. Some Caps may feel like their life has become a reverse pilgrimage. You went back to the ashram, back to the El Camino or something in the last 3 weeks before this moon. Now, this new moon is a new beginning. So you're having a new beginning in this house, a new beginning in your spiritual philosophy. New beginnings are forming. Some of them will take a month to unfold. Some of them will take 6 months to unfold. Jupiter says, well, can I give you some help? And so Uranus says, can I give you some lucky surprises from your house of children, from your house of romance, from your house of money luck, from your house of entrepreneurship? When I say the word entrepreneurship, it doesn't, or, you know, independent business enterprise. You're not under someone's paycheck and payroll, right? You're on your own. You're independent. You may be, have a business like I do online. You may be consulting, but you know, you are the boss of you. So if that's a part of what your life is like, Jupiter is opportunity. Uranus is exciting and unexpected, and it's coming off of this new moon. So September 15th to mid-October, you may get some kind of new career opportunity, but look for it to involve father figures, foreign lands, foreign shores, deep, meaningful connection to what you think is your dharma or your purpose. Ninth house stuff. Could be an opportunity for a trip to a foreign country coming up in the 30 days after the lunation. And also, there's a need for divine balance and harmony in existing love relationships, long-term committed relationships, client relationships, marketplace relationships to your business or career, and maybe divine balance with a business partner. Okay, those are some seventh house meanings. But of course, divine balance with Nemesis can also be about retribution or revenge, but it's a positive trine, a sextile making a mini grand trine. So I think it's more about just finding the divine balance and harmony that's needed in any one-to-one relationships in your life. You know, me and my client, me and my audience, me and my significant other. You're looking for this divine balance to unfold in the month that follows this particular new moon, and maybe as well in the 6 months that follow as well. All right, I'm one of you. I'm an Aquarius rising. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising people. We have a new moon in our chunky money house. Yay, us. Haven't seen this kind of power of Mercury since 2016. What kind of chunky money resets did you do? In like August and September of 2016, because there was a new moon here then as well. And here we go. Kaboom, reset button. Now, Mercury is right there holding fort with this new moon, which is lovely. And he's saying, okay, I've got this. I'm the god of ideas, marketing, merchandising, selling, commerce. In the house of markets, stock markets, investments, inheritances. Mercury's been retrograding for 3 weeks, and some of you Aquarius risings have been going over old ground, rethinking your investment strategies, rethinking your tax strategies. I've been rethinking my tax strategy for how I'm not going to get killed in my taxes next year. I've been thinking about a new ploy in my taxes, which I think is going to work because I'm not incorporated yet, but I will have to do that next year, I think, in order to save money to incorporate. But right now I'm not, so I've got another ace up my sleeve. Some of you are looking back over old inheritance monies, trust fund monies, investment monies, and reassessing that. And this new moon is about where you get to go forward between September the 14th and, of course, mid-October, that full month after the lunation, and reset something in this part of your chart. And you could also find, because Mercury's communication and new beginnings, is some new beginning occurs because of some revelation of something was hidden from you, like a secret. And you may know of this secret between September 14th and mid-October. Okay, secret is revealed. It gives you a new beginning in finance. This has smacks of insider trading. You may get a stock tip here. But it's also to do with property, because Jupiter and Uranus, luck and expansion, beautiful blessings from Jupiter around property and real estate. I just got this amazing renewal of my lease. It's way outside the box in terms of affordability. I'm so grateful to my landlady in Switzerland. And, you know, to me, it's just like, that's Jupiter. What else is he going to do when he gets in here in May, which he did? And I got a chance to re-sign my lease in May, and it was a blessed lease. Okay. So we see Jupiter bringing home and property blessings to all of us Aquarius. Is still the third week of May next year. And Uranus is surprises, and also with Jupiter positive. Okay. But real estate, property, land, sell, buy. This is Mercury. This is this. A lot of Aquarians will buy or sell a piece of property or experience a legacy wealth inheritance sometime between September 14th and the middle to the end of March next year, because the full moon on February 24th will complete what has started here now. If you teach or work from home as a teacher, that's really good, of course, because Jupiter's in the house of the home, and things you do that are called teaching jobs will be very prosperous in the wake of this new moon in the chunky money house. Passive income, commission income, royalty income, all of that. And you might find that the divine balance is in the work house and health house. You know, I am a grinder. I grind. I work really, really hard. A lot of you people tell me to take more time off. I have Saturn in my first house on my ascendant. Of course, I'm a grinder, right? I'm Aquarius rising with Saturn in domicile on my ascendant. So this is going to say to everybody who is like a grinding Aquarius, you know, where have you had a lack of balance in your health or your work routines? And where do you need to find divine harmony and balance here? That's what it is. Can be also about pets, divine balance regarding pets. I would love a cat, but I need a permanent home to get an animal right now, so I'm not doing that. Divine balance and harmony with health and health routines. And because it's a lunar temple, it's the Cancerian lunar temple. It's like Mercury in the 8th house might say, you really need to lean into some of the occult mysteries and non-ordinary methods and techniques to improve your health. Don't just rely on, your vitamin kit. Maybe think about it more deeply than that. Go under the surface of the psyche. Psychologists have a loaded 8th house. I've had so many clients who are social workers have loaded 12th houses, but archetypal psychology, Jungian psychology, real psychology, psychiatry people, they have shit ton of planets usually in their 8th house. And so the psychology of your health, the soul work that's needed to maintain your health can be suggested by this new moon, not just to focus on the substances that are in your life. Because Mercury also is the ruler of your Gemini, part of your sky, part of what the next 6 months can open up for you is a lot more creativity, passionate direction around purpose if you're entrepreneurial, more excitement around joy and fun and play and pleasure, so that you do have more balance in all areas of your life. And maybe if it's a new home that you're buying or purchasing, it allows you to find more joy, play, and pleasure and fun in your life because of that new place that you are going to buy or sell or move to or expand into, things like that. Debt. If you have a legal debt, debt is 8th house, debt is 6th house. If you own money, a mortgage or you own a credit card, you can balance that debt, balance the books, balance your financial obligations, balance your books in the 6 months that follow. All right. Thanks for listening to that, Aquarians. And let's finish up with the Pisces people. I don't know if anyone saw my video where James came running out while he was behind me, and I got to Pisces and he scared the shit out of me and I screamed and people thought it was a spider, but it was him. So I turn around every time I do Pisces because he's a mischievous one. He's got a Cap anoretic sun and Mercury in Cap. And I'll tell you, Capricorns are full of mischief and mirth. People think, oh, they're all so serious. No, I've known some Caps. They've got some serious mirth in there and mischief too. All right, let's get going and talk about the Pisces sun, moon, and rising sign people. Now, here we go. You have a new beginning, a new reset, a new moon, as you do every year around this time, August, September, in your 7th house of marriage, business partnerships, contracts and legal agreements, vows, new beginning here. If you need to make a contract or a vow, it could be a business agreement, it could be a business contract, it could be terms of service contracts, it could be a new agreement or vow with a significant relationship partner, like a marriage type partner. This is a new beginning with Mercury co-present, watching over his own domicile. You've been going back over old ground in this area of your life, including your significant relationship, redefining your communication style, rethinking it, but also your partner. Sometimes if you forget that the 7th house isn't you, it is the business partner, it is the significant other, it is the client. And the Mercury retrograde is like, oh, did somebody from your past return? Did a client or some significant business contact from your past come back recently? And then on September 15th, Mercury goes direct, and boom, we have a new story of some new beginning here. So you may get, like when we look at a horary chart, we want to know if someone's going to get a contract to buy their house or someone's going to get an offer for a new job. We look to the 7th house. So the 7th house is this offer of something, a new beginning, contractual agreement. So for some of you, it's about marriage and relationships. Some of you, it's about work. Some of you, it's about maybe a client situation or audience or marketplace situation. Or your partner gets some new contract, they get a new agreement, they get a new job, they get a new offer. And, because we get so much juice from Jupiter here, Jupiter juice and Uranus retrograde, but nonetheless in your 3rd house, some of this can involve travel. Some of this can involve the online world. Some of this can involve skills-based learning. Like, for instance, I'll make up a story. You get a new job, but you have to learn on the job. It requires some learning, or you have to take a class to learn something. You have an online presence and you're going to expand and grow suddenly, but now you're pulling back, Mercury's been pulling back the drawstring for a launching towards new success financially and prospering through your 3rd house online world, or a prosperous new neighborhood, or some prosperity coming through from a sibling, especially younger, but sibling in general. I like the balance you need to find in your relationship to your children, the relationship to your romantic and sexual life, and to your creativity and to your entrepreneurialness. And so you're looking for a divine harmony and balance in this part of the sky. If you have any creative projects you're working on, Pisces, this is really lovely because this mini grand trine for Mercury, the messenger, in the house of the audience, Jupiter and Uranus in the house of writing and communicating, suggests that writing, communicating type projects can really solidify in the 6 months that follow this new moon. Divine balance and harmony in the fifth house is about play, pleasure, and enjoyment. Are you doing too much or too little? And this moon is going to help you find the proper balance between too much and too little fun, play, joy, and pleasure, especially pleasure, like indulgences, that kind of thing. Because Mercury is the ruler of your fourth house of property, home, domestic, and private life, there is a potential for the next 6 months to unfold some opportunity through travel, for a new home or a new domestic environment, or through a sibling and a new home and a new domestic environment. So keep that possibility in mind. Some of you may look at this as a potential new moon that could invite in a move over the course of 6 months. You'll know more about that maybe February, March of next year, if there is to be some home that's brand new. But pay attention to the month that follows the new moon too, right? September 14th out a month, because also that could also be a shorter term story about trips, travel, journeys, and new home, contract for a new home, new agreement, new rental agreement, Venus in the house of tenancies, that sixth house, new rental agreement potentially showing up for a new home. But it may be involving a need to take a trip or a journey as well. Okay, I think that's everything. I don't know what else I need to say here. Thank you for listening. If you're new to my channel, again, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, do all the good things. Comment. I respond to I read all my comments. I heart, I like, or I respond. I can't respond to every comment. I just realized I just looked at my stats last month. I think I had, oh my God, 8,000 likes, but thousands of comments the week before. And I can't do thousands of responses, but I have an app, so I get to like, heart, read, and I try to get through to most of you most of the time. Yeah. Today I need to, I was going to go to Staples and buy printer ribbon. I'll have to push that to tomorrow. Okay, thanks for listening. Hit the like button. I said that already. Thanks for listening. Check out my description box. Sky Reader starts at the end, third week of, there's a wait list to get notice to sign up. It's a shopping cart wait list. Sky Reader, Be Your Own Astrologer, Time Your Best Life 6-week course is starting the third week of September. Come join me and learn live with me. I only teach this course twice a year, and I'm not even sure I will teach it next year. I always say that, maybe retiring out of the elementary teaching level. But if you want to learn more about astrology, then come take my class with me in September. Thanks everyone for listening. Have a wonderful Virgo new moon on September the 14th.